Hello YouTube and welcome to Miller's Woods. My name's Michael Miller and today I'm going to show you how to turn this very large piece of walnut into a picture frame. Stick around, I'll show you how I do it.
So I'll get started here by setting up the table saw, cutting these strips off this slab to 2.5 inches. Get everything lined up. And I cut 2 strips off of the slab. I'm gonna go pretty slow through this, so this is sped up 4 times, but you want to go pretty slow to minimize the amount of chatter on the blade and as little burning as you can. Then I take those 2 strips and resaw them in half. They end up being just under 1 inch thick after I run them through the bandsaw. There's another angle here, you can see a lot better cutting them vertically. Then I run them through the planer, get them down to a uniform thickness. I'm not shooting for any specific thickness here, I'm just trying to get them all even and all the same. Goes through the planer pretty good. And I love watching the chips fly out the other side. It just does a really awesome job of cleaning up this wood. And the walnut mill's really nice. Get them all through the planer. Then I set up the table saw, tilt the blade to 10 degrees. And I run all 4 pieces through, cutting a 10-degree bevel on one side of all 4 pieces. Then I run them through the router and put a round over on one side, and then on the other side I run them through the router again with a different bit, putting a 1/4 inch deep by 3/8 inch deep by 1/4 inch rabbet on the inside to make the lip where the picture will sit. Then using my miter sled here, I cut an angle 45 degrees on one side. Then I measure it out and for the short side and very carefully cut the second through. So you see how I moved it there. I almost cut it at the wrong mark. I cut one side of the angle on on the other 3 pieces. And I have to move through the saw pretty slow here to minimize chip out. I think I need a sharper blade. So then I put the test piece up against the next piece and mark that out so I can get both short sides exactly the same thickness. Cut the other end on the long piece and then again put them both together to make sure that I get them both exactly the same size. Using the miter sled ensures a tight miter joint. Usually more accurate than you can get with a chop saw. I get all 4 pieces set out on the bench here and put the glue on the corners. I do all 4 sides, both sides of all 4 pieces. Smear some on and then spread it out with my finger. Make sure you get even coverage all the way across the whole end. Then I put the strap clamp around it. Take out the slack in that. Tighten it up. And I'll tighten it up a little bit at a time here. Checking for alignment on the corners as I go. Tighten it up a little more, check alignment, and do that until I get it nice and tight. You can see the glue squeezing out evenly on all 4 corners. Then I take a wet rag and clean the glue off of the squeeze out, or rather off of the tops of the corners of the bevel. As you can't get under the clamps, but they're more easily sanded to remove the glue. After it dries, I take the strap clamp off here, and then time for a whole lot of sanding. I went ahead and sanded this entire frame by hand. was going to do the flat spots with my random orbital, but couldn't find it at the time, so I just went ahead and did them all by hand. There was some burning on the flat sides where I cut the bevel, but it sanded away fairly easily. The walnut sands really well, and it wasn't very hard to take off the burn marks. I use a sanding block on the flat sides, and then I just use a loose piece of sandpaper for the radius on the outside corners. The shape of your hand is usually really allows a lot better for keeping the curve that you want and doesn't create any flat spots on the routed edge. I sand starting with 80 grit all the way up through 220. I stopped at 220. You don't really need to go farther than that for a picture frame. So then I go to use a spray lacquer to finish it. I like the spray lacquer finish. It gives a really nice clean look, and the walnut really gets set off when you put the finish on it. I like spray lacquer as a finish.
Well, here we are. After 4 coats of spray lacquer, sanding in between each one, a nice smooth finish, mounted the painting in it, and it turned out really well. The slight bevel in the frame just takes your eye right to the painting, and some of the grain patterns in the wood that I used just really set things off. The frame and the painting go really well together, I think. Well, there we go, everybody. A nice, simple, solid walnut frame for the painting. My wife did the painting. I hope you all liked it. I think she did an excellent job on the painting, and I think the frame just fits it perfectly. Some of the grain patterns in the walnut across the top just really let you focus in on the painting, and it turned out really well. But I want to thank you all for coming and watching today. Appreciate you liking and subscribing if you like the things that I'm doing, and we'll see you next time. All right, bye.